ראיון הבלעדי עם המיליארדר האמריקני בן ה-90 דניאל אברמס. זה האיש שמזרים כבר שנים מיליוני דולרים לפוליטיקאים מהשמאל ביוזמות שלום. שמו הוזכר בשבוע האחרון כמי שעומד מאחורי יוזמת V15, העמותה להחלפת שלטון נתניהו, עמותה שבליכוד טוענים שהיא לא חוקית. אודי סגל שאל את אברמס האם הוא מכיר והאם הוא בקשר עם יצחק הרצוג. הנה.
Shalom לדני אברמס, thank you for this interview.
Thank you for having me.
So, how much money you gave to those V15 group?
How much money? I don't know how much money. But I give them my heart. I give my heart to Israel. I give it to the Jewish people. And I support the Jewish people with everything I have. Because I want Israel to remain a Jewish, democratic, proud, independent state, and not half Jewish, half Arab.
You know, there were claims by members of Likud and by Likud that this group, this V15, is related to one of the candidates in the political campaign in Israel, the Zionist camp, or to Meretz. Do you know of any such connection?
Absolutely not. I do not know.
In Israel, you know, there are laws of election, and I think that some of the claims against this V15 group is that maybe you violated laws of election in Israel. What do you say about that?
Let me tell you, Udi. I've been supporting Israel and the causes of Israel all my life. And I always do it with legal support. If the lawyer tells me it's a kosher organization and it does things in the proper way, I will support them.
People here in Israel sometimes says that people like you and like Mr. Sheldon Adelson that has a lot of money.
Who? Wait a minute. Who?
Sheldon Adelson.
Tell me about him.
Okay.
He's a friend of yours.
No, I think that you know him pretty well. And you know, you earned a lot of money, and is it right to use these resources, this money, to influence what's happening in Israel, although you're not a citizen of Israel?
I've been trying to influence things in Israel for 100 years before you were born. Come on. I do it in a proper, legal, and moral and ethical way.
You know, there's a lot of talks about the speech of Prime Minister Netanyahu in Congress. Do you think that Netanyahu should call off his speech?
Absolutely. I think it's receiving a lot of very negative opinions and press, and it's causing a disturbance in the good relations between America and Israel. The American president and the Prime Minister of Israel should never be on opposite sides of any argument.
You were a friend of Benjamin Netanyahu for a long time. Do you still consider yourself a friend of Netanyahu?
I'm a friend, absolutely. I hope he considers me a friend. We're on different sides of a lot of arguments, of a lot of issues, but we're on the same side of the most important issue. To keep, and by the way, I was the best friend of President Chaim Herzog. I was his best friend. He was my best friend for a long time.
So one may assume that maybe you're helping this V15 group in order to help his son, Yitzhak Herzog, to be the next Prime Minister.
Yitzhak Herzog. I think he's a great man and a great Israeli patriot. I wish he was a little stronger in what he says.
And you are helping him to be the next Prime Minister of Israel?
I am helping Israel to attain the best Prime Minister that Israel can have.
Mr. Danny Abrams, thank you very much for this conversation.
Thank you for having me.
Okay.
Appreciate it.